I would say the first point for a good belaying is that the belayer keeps me from hitting the ground. This is the first most important point. Probably one of the number one points in belaying is to never take your brake hand off the rope.
We didn't need big budgets, big gyms, a big crowd, big news to become a big sport.
A very good morning and a warm welcome once again to Studio Blockmasters here in Darmstadt, Germany. 20 men and 20 women as ever in the semi-final round to get down to just 6 for this afternoon's final. Gaz back at Studio Block, back for another semi-final round. Gaz Parry's going to be co-commentating with me today, as always, and we have the guest, Eddie Falk from the Circuit Climbing. We have an empty chair for a guest, a Slovenian star, Urška Ruputic, but she has been delayed. We're praying that she makes it on time. But Gaz, Studio Blockmasters, it's our second year here, and it's great to be back at such a prestigious event.
Well, for sure, it's an absolute pleasure to be invited back once again to sit here in the commentary booth. But yesterday, we also got the opportunity to climb on some of these boulders. I mean, it is amazing out there. There's 80 world-class boulders, everything in a very competition style. We were really struggling to find some crimps. We did find one boulder, and obviously, I must admit, I excelled on that boulder, unlike the rest of us. But yeah, I mean, it's such an amazing event out there. It gives everyone an opportunity to rub shoulders with the stars, basically, to be able to stand and compete alongside the likes of Janja Gambrot, and from the UK, Billy Rydell as well. He's here to try and get through this semi-final into the final. He's already had a good competition year already, even though it's very, very early doors.
Eddie, you've been around the block more than once. You know the circuit inside out. Nobody knows more facts about climbing than you, I would say. You've been here here all day yesterday. You got to see the competitors in action. How was the qualification round?
Yeah, qualification was amazing yesterday. I think one of the real standout things was seeing some of the young climbers come through really close to the level of the established stars. So we're used to seeing Janja just in a class of her own in qualifying, not really being pushed. And yet the young French lass, Ariane Baton, was only 2 points behind at the end of qualifying.
Yeah, just 14 years old.
And only 14 years old. Can't even compete in adult World Cups this year. We have to wait till next year to see her in the open circuit.
And Gaz, like you said, you mentioned we climbed quite a bit. So many boulders, such a physical style and a really volume-based style that means you have to burn a lot of attempts and you lose a lot of skin. And we saw a number of competitors really going through the skin and using a lot of tape during the qualifiers. It's tough out there for the guys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this has been a long conversation in the competition world about the problems that occur with the volumes nowadays. The texture of the holds is usually very new holds and the texture is very rough, and climbers are going through the skin very quickly. But what we saw yesterday was a lot of people climbing and competing with tape on, but at the beginning, very early doors, so they're trying to conserve the skin throughout the competition, obviously with the hope that they're going to get through into the semi-final and final beyond, and where they need skin, it becomes really critical.
Eddie, out of all those boulders, there wasn't any major casualties. Our guest, Urska, was probably the biggest one, 2019 European champion. Maybe you can't blame her for not joining us, but there was no real casualties out there.
No, there was a couple of people just bubbling under. They just didn't quite make the cut. Urska, as you said, and she actually fell foul of tactics. Because she was really worried about conserving her skin, she actually backed off and did just what she thought would be enough, because she already had fairly bad skin coming in. And in the end, she missed out by 2 points. And it was a tactical choice for her to taper off her qualifying because she felt that she had done enough. But of course what we have here is we have two groups in qualifying. She was qualifying in the first group and she underestimated the strength of the second group, and it ended up costing her.
And like we've talked a little bit about yesterday, it was a brutal qualification round. Today we've got, like I said, 20 men, 20 women to get down to just 6. It's not a World Cup, but it's not far off a World Cup field.
It's very close to a World Cup field. You could realistically look at a field like we have here in a World Cup semi or in a World Cup final. Sure, we don't have the strong Asians that we see at World Cups, but pretty much anyone that is in semis here or will be in finals tonight are World Cup caliber athletes. There's no drop in level.
It really is an absolute treat to have an event like this before the World Cup season. And Ed, you've kind of got a bit of an inside line as to the IFSC season this year. Coronavirus is really messing things up.
Yeah, I don't even want to discuss that in depth because of our contract to the IFSC. I don't work for the IFSC, but obviously there will be a huge impact because we have had the postponement and, let's face it, probable cancellation of the 2 early World Cups in China. I'm not sure about Korea, but I just cannot see it going ahead at this stage. We've also lost Asian champs. And for the boulders especially, huge impact on their season. They've been training, they've been preparing, they've been tapering, getting themselves ready for the start of the season. And then suddenly they've got Meiringen, provided it happens, then a big gap. And then Munich, provided it happens, and then a big gap. So the whole season is really disjointed. And now what happens is if you have a bad comp or something, you can't make that ground back up. There's so few events.
And Gaz, it's an amazing event. We've talked about that already, but it seems to be a decent event to get yourself prepared for the season that is going to happen shortly. We really hope.
Yeah, obviously it's very central to Europe. Sadly, we didn't get Gabri Moroni here. He had 2 flights cancelled. So there's a few people missing. But in general, yeah, at the start of the season, it's such a high quality. The setting is high quality. The route setters are international setters. So you are climbing on the best boulders available, and it's right at the start of the season. So it's a good way to sort of measure the level and the position you're at, and then maybe fine-tune later on for the events later on in the season.
And talking about the route setting a little bit, shortly we'll be bringing you guys the semi-final round. But we had a quick preview through the boulders, all 3 of us actually. And what's the initial thoughts out there?
Well, we've we've got a little bit of a wager going on one boulder, haven't we? We'll see what happens. It could be exciting. It could be very interesting to see if people actually do attempt it in a certain way. We will see. We think they can probably skip a few moves, or maybe not. But we've been assured that it's been tried and tested. The team are aware of the opportunity there. They also have a wager on it as well. But we shall see. It could be very exciting. See which way it goes on that boulder. And there's a big variation as ever with the comp style boulders here. We've got technical slabs. We've got coordination. We've got very dynamic, and we do have a few nice little dirty crimps out there as well.
Absolutely, Eddie. What was your thoughts when you took the tour of the boulders this morning?
I think time and time again, it amazes me how hard they are, because you almost get lulled into a false sense of security because you're seeing these guys doing moves quite easily. And then when you have an opportunity like we did, that you actually go up under them and you go, okay, so you just got to go, really? Like, it brings it home how tenuous, how desperate these boulders are. And, you know, a couple of them I was quite daunted by. I was just looking going, no way. But you know that the route setters know the game. You know they've tested. You know they understand the level. It's just incredible how hard these guys climb. And it's, yeah, the same boulder you guys were discussing, I will be photographing with enthusiasm because I'm really curious to see about that one.
Yeah, we'll be bringing that to you very, very shortly. I have to agree with you, Eddie, there. Just talking about the standard, though, you know, both of us here, we're route setters, been around the block a few times with a bit of competition route setting, and I have to agree, I probably would struggle to start at least two of the women's boulders here this weekend. It's always just slightly mind-blowing coming to a competition of this standard and seeing the level. It's incredible.
I think in many aspects the level is super, super close by with some of the senior women. And it's going to be very exciting as we move into the semi-final now. We've got the starting list up on the screen there. Women's semi-final.
Yeah.
Michael?
Yeah, 20 men, 20 women. Eddie, I know you've got actual real work to do, so we'll say this opportunity. Thank you very much for joining us. Eddie will be joining us later on for the finals in the studio a bit later. Eddie, enjoy yourself out there.
Thanks, it'll be a blast. Enjoy commentating, guys. I will make sure I watch it back later.
Cheers, see you later, Eddie.
So the competition will come out in reverse order. 20th place is the starting, that'll be the first climber out, Anja van Essen from the Netherlands. Interestingly, with her, she actually caused a bit of confusion last night as she was born in Bangkok, Thailand. We're just going to leave that start list for you guys on the screen for just a second as we switch over here in the studio to the commentary position. And so just give me 1 second and we'll be back with you. There we go, guys, as we look through the top half of the women's draw, all the way through to Chloe Collier coming out in 10th position. Jessie Pills, maybe slightly lower down than she would have expected yesterday, potentially saving skin through that massive tour of boulders. Some big names all the way through there. Evgenia Kazbekova, she's still looking for that final position into the Olympics later on in the year. In August, Luchka Rakovic, lead European champion, I should say, coming out third from last. Oriane Berthone there, who Eddie was just talking about, 14 years old. Her results this year is just absolutely incredible. So exciting to see such a young athlete doing so well. And obviously Janja Garnbret right at the top of the tree there, Gaz. Not too many surprises there.
I think all our eyes are going to be on that battle from the youngster to the old guard at the top of the tree. And we're straight into the semi-final here. The first climber out for the men is Leo Favre from France.
So this competition does go right to left, 5 minutes for each climber to attempt the boulders. 5 minutes on, 5 minutes rest. So we have just been informed that Anja van Essen won't start, so it's going to be a man on his own out there today. Leo. So this is the boulder, Gaz. This is the one that the wagers are on. Beers are on the line here, it has to be said. Should be ice waters on the line, considering you lot. Men's boulder number 1. So it's a running jump from right to left, and there's a decent sized volume on the right there, just above his head. And the wager is that you can go from the starting hole, plant your right foot on that volume, and jump straight to the finish hole, but no such situation at the moment for Leo.
But from what we saw earlier on, Michael, it looks like a blocker has just been added You see the start hold, and
yes.
you should be able to hold that start hold at the top. When we looked at the semi-final boulder this morning, and you were able to smear on the wall, plant your right foot on the grey volume up high next to the start hold, and go straight to the finishing hold.
Yeah.
So the route setters have panicked a little bit, I think, at the last moment there with the realisation of what is possible, and put a blocker on top. And so that is definitely not going to happen.
Yes, it's not a science. Oh, good effort there from Leo. We're thinking it's a potential. So you double jump to the left-hand lower white hold, and then pounce from there straight up into the next hold, and end up potentially doing 3 holds in one move. Classic triple dyno, straight out the traps here in the men's competition. Pretty decent crowd in here so far at Studio Block. It's never ceased to amaze just how popular this event is. Not only from a competitor's point of view, 750 athletes went through the boulders yesterday. Always a big crowd of locals. Good effort there from Leo. There you can see, can't hold the position on the first hold. So that's just an intermediate. Hold the swing, pounce up, potentially one hand, either left hand or double hands to that next stacked hold on the next grey volume. And then landing eventually in the zone, all in one move potentially. Classic modern move.
Very modern. And I am sure that Leo is capable of this style of boulder. And maybe this level, it's one of those things that takes a little bit of time to get your eye in, get the sequence with the feet, and a lot of body parts all moving very fast at the same time. Leo's no slouch in the climbing world, though. He's European Youth Cup champion, only 19 years old, so still a lot of experience to gain. Let's have another look at next attempt. There you go, improving with every time, and he locates the zone.
It's a really classic move, really nice one. Nice job there from the route set as well. Finish doesn't look too tricky here. This is a perfect start here for Leo. Nice and static in the end, the top hold, but burnt a lot of attempts, and actually exactly what that boulder's designed to do, just rack up the attempts and get those split. It looks like we've got 20 men and 20 women to get down to 6 here. Just the inside line on Anja Van Essen. Unfortunately, she did qualify in second position, 20th position, 20th, but she is injured, unfortunately, and will not compete in this semi-final round.
Yeah,
so it's a big shame for her.
Actually. Yeah, big shame.
I mean, it's such a brutal round yesterday. There's plenty of people going away with niggles and a few injuries. Plenty of blood out there, unfortunately, with so many volumes, a serious bit of scraping. And Alex Waterhouse in the British team, we had a look at his knees after the competition. He was absolutely in pieces. So for some people,
there were definitely a few knees missing.
I think they're quite glad that they didn't get through, to be honest. They're just absolutely in pieces.
That was a good start for Leo, though. Young, 19 years old, obviously very experienced. European Youth Cup champion. Yeah, 5 attempts it was in the end, and you can just see how good these guys are now at this style of move. A couple of years ago, a triple dyno like that hadn't really been around, and the amount of training, working with the local route setters to set such style all through the off-season, coming out and doing triple hand dyno coordination moves like that is the standard these days on that style is quite amazing. I think it was also a good example of how you see the progression on these types of movements. Absolutely. You're learning, it's a multi-move move. So you're doing like 8 movements in one, basically, and they're learning each one as they go. And what we'll see, I think, down the line as we get to the more experienced and more well-honed international competitors, is they will learn that very fast, or possibly even flash the boulder. Yeah, I think it's a really good point that Gaz makes there, is progression on a boulder is when you've got so much coordination and timing to get all the different elements of the boulder working for you. It usually takes quite a few attempts to figure out what to do with the feet, the hands, where to look, at what stage to look at which hold. And like Gaz says, the better competitors are the ones who can seemingly just come out and crush those boulders really quickly. We are going to get to see the start of the women's competition, which is going to be Lynn Vandermeer from the Netherlands. Women's number 1 starts on this slab on the far right-hand side of the huge competition wall here at Studio Block. Over on men's boulder, Yannick Floey, another very experienced competitor. Yeah, German competitor. Incredible year in 2019, did so well at the World Championships. He was probably, one of the big standout athletes for 2019. Yeah, really exploded onto the scene. Third place there was super impressive. So as this semi-final progresses, we will eventually have 8 climbers on the wall at all times, and we'll do our best to keep up with every attempt on every boulder. Always easier said than done.
We've only so many cameras.
So Lynn's first attempt on this boulder, that super high foot onto a very small jib. This is what we were looking at earlier on, Michael. We were talking about it being one of those modern style moves, but just designed to be done very slow and very in control. Nice movement though out to the zone for Lynn van der Meer. Some terrible footholds on this boulder, on this women's number 1.
Yeah, it's a good start here from Lynn, just 20 years old. She got an 18th in the European League Championships at RAFO towards the end of last year. That championships that Lučka Rakovic from Slovenia won. She'll be competing in third position later on this morning. Yeah, tricky little mantle there, really bad foothold.
I think it'll be interesting to see later on down the field whether that is a controlled mantle over on the women's, or you just step up and pop for the finishing hold. It looks like the finishing hold is quite good, so I think we'll see some dynamic finishes there as well. Yannick still learning his sequence through this bottom volume, starting cross leg this time.
Yeah, also opting for the left-hand arm swing just to generate a bit more momentum. You see that a lot more these days, really generating the swing with the leg and the arm before setting off. Gaining initial inertia. Doesn't go for the arm swing that time. Doesn't manage to get his feet all the way over to the left-hand side. Seems to be a real love-hate relationship with this type of running jump quite a lot, Gaz. For me, absolutely love route setting it, really dislike climbing it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with that one. But this is not great for Yannick, because obviously he's hitting this sloper every time. Finally he's hit it and held it, but he's been sliding around on that sloper for quite a few goes. So this time he's located the zone, and as we've seen before, this last move does actually seem quite reasonable.
Incredible progression on the boulder there, from nothing to everything.
Awkward little hand swap, jumps it, steady through to the finishing hold. Finally Yannick gets the top.
I think Yannick really showed his class there, actually, because he was really struggling on that lower section, and as soon as he got the distance and the coordination just right, he absolutely nailed it straight to the zone and then cruised to the top. Does mean in the last minute and 35 seconds we get to focus on Lynn. She's been up to this point before then. This seems to be the stand-up on the last move. Just wondering what to do with those black blocks volumes, which hand positions to use. Struggling to put the weight through the left foot. Oh, scrapes the finish hold. That was pretty close. She knows exactly what to do now, though.
She's got enough time on the clock as well for a little break. Herself a few moments to pause, but she's jumping straight back on, so interesting.
Yeah, I guess it's a relatively slow boulder to climb, so we've only a minute left. Kind of got to get on with this. Ideally, should have liked a bit more rest in the crowd there.
Good angle, this to show this super high foot movement onto that really bad right foot. Nice and controlled through there, foot down. Needed to make an adjustment there, didn't feel like she was quite standing on the foothold. I'll transfer back out to the zone. She's been here a few times already.
Yeah, you can see it's already taken her 30 seconds to get through those initial moves. It's kind of a two-part boulder. Get through the initial tricky section and then load up for the last move. And the foot swap, you think a bit of time pressure, unfortunately, there for Lynn. So in the semi-final format, clock runs down to the next rotation. 10 seconds before we see our next climbers. And in the women's competitions, one of the absolute superstars of 2019, Mia Krempel from Slovenia. Obviously, there's so many Slovenians come out, two of them come out onto the mats there.
Well, this is a great pair of Slovenians here. Not only Mia, but we've got Gregor Vezonik for the men. He won a Boulder World Cup in Munich in 2018. 3 third places last year, Innsbruck. World Championships, Tallinn, China, and Munich. What an absolute legend. Very, very strong climber, and yeah, a great guy to be around as well.
Yeah, and Mia is our first Olympian that we got on the mat. She will be competing at the Olympics later on in the summer. Fingers crossed, everybody's fingers crossed that the Olympics doesn't get affected by the current health situation worldwide. Gregor goes for the one-arm swing to begin with. Yeah, Mia's really, really solid all-round climber. third in Toulouse to get that Olympic slot sorted, and second in the World Championships in lead. So really a lead and a boulder as Vazonik manages to slow down the catch. Talk about power. So hard to get that move right from the root setters. The hold's got to be good enough to get momentum through, but not too good that you can stop. And Vazonik has shown already on this men's number one that you can stop through the initial triple dyno.
Very fast through there for Gregor. 2 attempts. Very quick, and that'll play into his ballpark well. Saves a bit of skin from multiple attempts. Meanwhile, Mia is still on her first attempt.
Look at the amount of tape on the fingertips there, Gaz, already. Such a brutal round yesterday, we keep mentioning, but it's so important. Normally a qualifying round for a World Cup would be 5 boulders, up to 20 boulders climbed yesterday for each competitor. As Mia pushes it out, superb left toe and leg power, really good. Mia, surprisingly, coming out so early in the competition, would have expected to see her much further down the line considering her season last year, but really no issues at all. And number one.
This is our first look over at boulder number 2 for the men. It's Leo from France.
Style completely switches up here in the men's from the circus tricks of number 1 into pure power through the roof sections here. Double overlaps of the Studio Block comp wall.
These starting holds, we had a look at them earlier on, Michael. Absolutely shocking. Shocking starting positions. Suddenly slopey toe hooks into a bit of power with some holds, and then out to that larger volume in the top right of the screen there.
Good to see Eddie getting in the shot there straight away. Eddie down and right, straight out of the commentary booth into action.
Good angle here, showing how the use of those toe hooks to keep contact.
Yeah, big smash out now.
Big jump.
Really aesthetic looking tour of semi-final boulders here as well. Men on the white, women on the black holds. Really good looking set of boulders. Seems to be equally as important somehow as the moves these days.
Yeah, I think for everybody watching at home, visuals are really important, but also from a route setter's perspective, you know, you watch these things and you see moves and you then take them away and use them in your own route setting, whether it's commercial or whether it's for an event like we do ourselves. It's spreads the education of route setters in a way, I suppose.
Yeah, if you're a route setter and you're not watching this, then you're probably in the wrong game. It's really good to fill the mind with all the moves, the shapes, the styles, the aesthetics. What the competitors are doing at the start of this season. Leo obviously had a bit of tape on there to try and protect, but it's not helping him on that initial section, so he does decide to rip it off. Do see that quite often, competitors taking the tape off for, you know, the one big go left. Skin becomes secondary to finding an attempt, especially Leo's already on the second boulder.
1 minute's gone, so possibly going to be Leo's last attempt on this. Looks a brutal release there from those toe hooks, Michael. Really powerful.
Judge just stepping in there. I think the starting position wasn't controlled properly. Let's have a look this time. Just get the little tap for the left foot, that's good enough. Hands have to be in control. That nice little unwind sequence using the little undercut there for the left hand. A lot going on at the start of this boulder.
Super powerful, but really technical start to the boulder with those feet, with those toe hooks. Lots of different sequences. Footwork is an entirely different game these days, not just standing on little edges.
Julia Fischer will be joining us, hopefully, on women's number 1 down at the far right hand wall there from Austria. 5 lead semi-finals for Julia last year in the lead, so great to see her doing so well in the bouldering competition.
And at the far end of the mat, we've got the legend Jörni Kruder. He's back from injury. He's not quite 100% yet, but he was strong enough to get through into this semi-final.
Yeah, I think we've had a little run of injuries there over the winter, mostly from outdoor climbing. He's going to be really chuffed, really, with yesterday's qualification block. So many strong climbers to get through and make it into a semi-final is big news.
It looked like he did have a little think there about going straight up.
Oh, just cut away from him just as he did that. But just to let you know, guys, know as a quick top from Yannick Floe. I think the route set is going to be getting a little bit nervous here already. Obviously, Yannick is incredibly strong, but Jerne, as we see now, he cruised that first move, stopped on the first of the lower white holds, didn't go for any form of coordination jump whatsoever, really. Just pinged across and just stood on that far volume and finds a quick, easy top for Jerne. I'm pretty sure that was a flash.
I think also the route setters will be bearing in mind the level from last year's semi-final. Last year's semi-final was super difficult, and not many tops in that semi-final. This year, we're already seeing quite a few tops, so it looks like it's going to be an exciting round. Obviously, a flash of boulder number 1 does not mean anything because there's 3 more boulders after that.
Julia just looking for the little crimp down the back of these volumes. She's just searching around to find if there's any cheeky little gaps behind the volumes, such as the desperate nature of that, and that's a really great catch there on the finish hole. For a second there, the head tipped back, didn't look like she was going to hold it. Pretty bad volume, that top hole, but ends up securing it.
Good flash from Julia there. This is our first view of Lynn on this women's boulder.
Yeah, it's quite a slabby start for the women's competition, really. It starts in this overlapping roof, but it's ultimately it seems to be a bit of a slab style across the bottom of the wall here. So two slabs to start the women's competition. That tricky little toe catch push into the other side.
We really like the look of this boulder, didn't we, when we were out there? This toe catch and then drop into that big undercut and drop the right foot down onto that small triangle volume. Really nice move.
Bit of mirrory sheen on that volume.
Super shiny.
Good bits, obviously, the underside where she's holding. It's got some pretty decent texture on it.
Do you think they found that off the side of some fancy motorbike or something?
It's like a motorbike bumper. I think the route setter's probably just sheened it so they can see themselves when they're route setting. A bit of an ego check during the process.
Yeah. But yeah, keep your eyes out for this next attempt, because this move, this toe hook and drop the right foot down is a super nice movement, actually. Really nice. 1:20 on the clock, plenty of time still. Lynn just running the time down a little bit, maximising a rest. All eyes in the crowd are on her. 1 minute buzzer has gone. Julia will possibly be her last attempt. Drop down, foot swap. I think she's got enough time. That starting foothold that they're starting in, it's a really big foothold, but it's a little dish. Really hard to make a foot swap on it. It's quite hard to see on the live feed, but it's a really awkward foot swap inside that bowl.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of force going through the ankles on that foot swap as well, and into that next toe hook move. Nice little lean across move, really relying on that toe hook.
Route setters out there, that's a little trick to take away. Get practicing next week. I want to see that on a few walls back in the UK next weekend, please.
You're not even going to be in the UK next week. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I would like to stay here in Germany for as long as possible with such great facilities. We go there in the next rotation. Another Slovenian joins us in the women's competition, Lucia Tarkas. 6 Slovenian females made it through to the semi-finals.
And in the men, it's Alberto Jimenez Lopez. Absolute legend. Shot onto the scene now, very young, super strong. He's also just qualified for the Olympic ticket. Very happy chap he was then. Usually known for his ability on the routes. He's no slouch on the boulders either.
First look at men's number 3, the little low down catch swing. Another ultra modern move. Leo here, demolishing this lower section. This is really hard pinching at the top though. You see her just 16 years old on the far right-hand side of the screen then, Slovenia. Another super young competitor, not the youngest. 15 and 14-year-olds out there in the women's round later. Some pretty decent European Youth Cup results, both in lead and boulder for Xia. Using ultimate flexibility there, just going feet up high just to work her way across to that zone hold. Mia Krampel, you can just see first climber to get through that lower dual texture, that massive, what are we going to call that, guys? The bumper, the motorbike bumper.
I've no idea. I'm sure X-Cult have come up with some fancy name for it, but Mia looking very good on this boulder at the moment. I think we might see a top.
Oh, interesting, went up with the left hand to go again at the top. Just had the height off the lower foothold to make that work. Heart in the mouth movement there for a second as she went up with the left, but ultimately it did work.
Mia definitely looking on form at the minute with that performance. That's 2 out of 2 flashes. Alberto coming very close to the jump then, actually made contact with the volume.
5 boulders have been on display, 4 of them have been topped. This is a little bit of a surprise this early on in the competition, but the routers might be going for a high topped round. It's going to be the attempts that's important, as Alberto Llanes Lopez certainly is burning some attempts down there on men's number 1. So we get to see Gregor back in action. Absolutely blasted off the first boulder. Looks like it's really ramped up on number 2 and 3. Oh, that's really nice from Gregor.
Looking very strong on that move. You can see Gregor now in the background. Gregor gets the top.
Absolutely in cruise control at the moment. Bozonic.
2 boulders, 3 attempts for Gregor there. Back with Alberto. Hopefully he's starting to get the hang of this now. Good solid onto that volume and stops nicely.
Yeah, that's the cruder method. Holding that lower volume, skips out the next hole completely. So hard to get right these boulders, as we mentioned before. It looks like the root sets haven't quite got that one right, unless they knew that there was multiple methods available. Looks like he's going to try and lean it out from the far left. Risky here from Alberto. Really committing to that left hill. Just pounces for it anyway. Nicely done, showed his class there at the top of that boulder.
Few attempts to get that boulder, but that was a good effort by Alberto. Always one of those moments. I heard somebody shout out from the crowd, "Ale Alberto," and he's not doing it the best way. He was questioning it himself. You could see he was thinking about dropping the foot down. Bit of a weird one if you hear that sort of shout. Yeah, I'm doing it the right way. Oh no, maybe I'm not. But he got the top, so that's good.
Going to come back to that point, guys. Just as we watched Leo on this top section, that's where it's been before that really bad right hand. So when you were competing, you did many World Cups back in the day. I remember a conversation I had with you before about how you can read the crowd to learn what's going on in the boulder. You know, you fall off and you look around. Can you judge what the crowd are doing? Because everyone in the crowd's obviously talking about it. They're waving arms.
Strangely, you can sometimes, yeah, because they're actually waving their arms in the air about sequences. And as well, if you have a more trusted person in the crowd that you actually trust for sequences and you recognise their voice because you spend a lot of time with them, and yeah, they can actually give away quite a lot of beta.
Yeah, they're not technically, correct me if I'm wrong here, but you're not technically allowed to effectively provide coaching from the crowd.
Nope.
But a bit of gesturing can go a long way. I'm sure all the tactics over the years have been used. Hold up a massive sign, you're doing it all wrong.
Or the opposite is silence. You know, if your team members are silent, because those are the voices you recognise. If they're silent, they're not cheering for you, not cheering for your method. They either don't like you, or
not very good
or you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I think that's very true. Just reading the silence and just reading the noises that people in the crowd are making. At most World Cups, all the athletes are sitting right down the front as well.
So our first view of Kypros Baltrunas. Now it's on block 1 for the men. Yeah. Kypros is probably one of the taller competitors in this field. It probably suits him on this block.
Athletes from Lithuania represented. Kypros has been around the tour for a little while now. He's actually building his own climbing centre in Vilnius in Lithuania, capital of Lithuania, building a massive gym over there, so he's got his work cut out in between trainings. And Mona Kellner from Germany. First really big international semi-final for her, so it'll be interesting to see how she deals with the nerves down on the far right-hand side of the wall. Hopefully she'll have plenty of support This is our first look at women's number 3.
Julia Fisher going for a very different sequence as we just cut away there.
First top of men's number 3. Yannick Flohé is blasting these boulders away at the moment. It's going to be 3 tops for him. Quite a few attempts, so I think early on at this stage it's safe to say that it's going to be tops that are going to be crucial, obviously, and quite a lot of them up to 4 tops already looking likely here. But it's going to be down to the number of attempts as Kruder smashes off number 2.
Yeah, these guys are going quite well. Kruder's obviously got the psyche. He's quite happy that he's back in competition. And if he can smash a few boulders quickly, it can save a lot of energy and a lot of skin.
Boulder number 4 is going to be really interesting. It has to be hard, otherwise... Oh, nice there, top there from Mona. Superb. Looks like it's her first really big international event.
Good start for the German team here in this semi-final. Mona on her first top.
Just saying that, guys, men's number 4 has got to be pretty tricky because 2 and 3 are getting done really fast, as is number 1. But number 1 seems to be doing its job in the fact that you're burning a lot of attempts on it for most of the athletes we've seen in front of us so far this morning. But yeah, number 4 has to do a pretty good job here. Otherwise, it's going to come down to boulder number 1 and how many attempts it takes you on a coordination move.
Really nice looking boulder number 3 for the women here. That toe hook release to try and hang that slope and release onto that left toe by the looks of it. Back in with Julia Fisher. Going for this
Completely different method there.
really well. What we think is probably the wrong method. Super powerful. Could confuse the rest of the field as well now. There's a load of chalk on that toe hook. This is just brushing now. This didn't have any chalk on when we were first looking at the boulder.
Yeah, we saw Mia Krampel and Lynn van der Meer using that solely as a toe hook. Steep that section of wall is.
Very nice move that.
Yeah, nice toe hook release move. Just out of shot. Oh, just in shot. There we go. Kyprios Baltrinas going well here. He's burnt some serious attempts, but he hopefully can find a top. Plenty of time still. Just commit to drop it into that right foot. Nicely done. There's a tricky little match up the top here. Kind of a bit of a shuffle. Seems to be really concentrating to make sure he gets this top now rather than having to take another attempt. Now he finds it. Talk about aesthetics on that top hold of men's number 1. That top hold is doing everything and the hold underneath is doing nothing. It does look nice though.
If it looks nice, the root setters are usually happy with it. It's a really big element nowadays. Something that you look at, you think, oh, I've never seen anything like that before. The way it's constructed, the way the moves, make the body change positions. It's all part of the game. It's all part of what the root setters are trying to create. But Julia Fisher has managed to get through this bottom toe hook sequence via a different method. Good style, getting the knee on in there. I'm down with that. You like this?
Full commitment here. Crowd gets right behind her. Hopefully she can finish it off. It's going to be tight with 5 seconds. Oh, yeah. Oh, nice. For a second there, I thought she had actually fallen off, but she just went for the fist bump on the wall to celebrate. That was a close one.
Very, very good top there for Julia Fisher. So we're pleased with that. More new athletes out on the mat. It's Zan Šuda, another Slovenian competitor. 23 years old.
Katrine van der Thaling is going to join us from Denmark. 7 competitors now out now. First look at men's number 4 then. So we think this is going to be crucial. Inside line is the root setter. It was Nicky on this one. He gave us a bit of a beater just before saying he doesn't actually think it's that hard. Not that that means too much when it comes to a slab, but yeah, if it's not hard, it's going to be an interesting next hour or so. So you've got to push all the weight down on that left foot, stand on that sort of semi-ledge volume. And the finish hold is like a non-hold. This is superb here from Leo. Just got to wobble across and get the match, and does get it done. Interesting scenes here in the men's competition already.
Alberto just top to block as well. Just out of shot.
It's tops, tops, tops now. And there's another one. And 3 gets done for
Tops
Gregor.
are coming so fast now. Gregor tops.
A bit tricky just to keep up. Women's tour is looking superb at the moment. There's Katrine. Just getting to the grips with this starting section. Been competing since 2015. Usually in the field of the IFSC, usually in the top 20 or 30. Back in 2018 was the last time she really featured on the international circuit. Could see her back in action to a semi-final round.
Doesn't look like she's quite seen that super high step yet. Going for the more dynamic version.
Zansudar, on the other hand, got the Alberto heel and does flick out to the finish hold.
There he is, just matching the boulder. He'll be happy with that. He's been trying hard. Got into the Slovenian trainers to get back to a really good level for the international circuit. That was a good start for his semi-final. This is this move we've not seen done yet on this lady's boulder. Looks hard enough to get the toe hook in, never mind, hang on it.
Yeah, if Mia Krempel's struggling, you know it's hard.
Back again on the right-hand side. Will she go for this really high right toe on that jib she's got underneath her right hand?
See her just working that right foot. Doesn't look completely comfortable in that position at the moment. Not struggling to find the balance point.
Back with Mia. Gets the toe in.
That time. See her crimping down on that rail under the roof. Not happy, but she has got vast amounts of tape, especially on those smaller edges that really don't help.
Yeah, we know that rail, don't we, Michael? It's quite a big, comes across as quite a big hold, but really in that position you are just going to crimp it on the edge for as much as you can get out of it.
Katrine has read that as a bit of a quicker move. That's not working for her at the moment on the slab.
Yeah, it's very interesting seeing this. He's the first one to read it in that way rather than the high foot. Up until now, everybody's gone with the right foot high.
It's one of those boulders down there on the slab that it initially looks like it's going to be a bit of a coordination palm down rollover move that's so common these days, and sometimes you can read too much in what you've done in training and not what's in front of you. Sometimes you just need to read the moves that the route says have put down there for you.
Yeah, it's a good trick, setting something that looks like it's a dynamic boulder, but it's actually a really slow one. It's the end of her attempt. No top for her. Big run down to the opposite end of the wall for this slab boulder. Alberto. This is our first view as well of the athlete from Great Britain, Billy Rydell.
Yeah, Tiba Vroom, also from the Netherlands, third climber out of the Netherlands already this morning. She's been really having a decent run on the European youth circuit. Let's see if she can convert that into the adults now.
Kruder just eyeing up the boulder number 3 for the men.
I think what's going to be interesting now in the men's competition, just as we have a little focus on women's number 4, Lynn Vandermeer. We've pegged this one as a really hard climb. It's I was going to say, in the men's competition, the athletes are going to know that their boulders are being topped really quickly, so it becomes a bit of a flash tour, which means you can't afford to make any mistakes, which usually means nerves really ramp up. And we start
Well,
to see
especially if you're
funny
coming out
mistakes.
later on, you know, when people start getting a feel of lots of flashes coming down, then they are going to get the nerves. They know they need to do these boulders.
See Tiba Vroom as Yone looks for a quick top as well. Falls off. Interesting, so it's not that easy.
Tiba just slithers down, lost that right foot. Really bad footholds on this slab.
Talk about bad footholds. It's just that right foot here, dual texture, small white holds from the brand Holds.
One of the original dual texture holds produced.
Yeah, still going strong. As Yannick just tries to dynamically stand into that volume. Leo Favot from France, first climber we saw in men's number 4, made it look like a piece of cake. That's nice there from Lynn.
Going well here, yeah. First time she's made contact and hold that swing. Strongly onto the zone now.
Nice little cross palm for the left arm there, switching the right hand into a palm down. She doesn't quite know where she fell off there, looked in control.
I always find, for me personally, they're a very fine texture, those Squadra volumes. 1 minute you feel pretty comfortable on them, and then you're off it.
Looks like Billy, just out of shot, is actually trying to go direct to the finish hold. That was the opportunity for the route setters to get their beers out. Billy is trying to go direct from the top, from the start hold to the last hold.
One of the taller male competitors out there. He's also one of the more dynamic ones. He does like his jumping.
Looks like he is eyeing that again. But he's really try it. It's risky for Billy because he knows it's had tops. Obviously the competitors don't know what's gone down. Maybe everybody in his mind has done it directly from the start to the finish. And a nice little top there on women's number 1. Superb work from Tiba Vroom, really enjoyed that slab. Let's have a look at Billy then, just on the right hand side. He's going to jump into it. That blocker's not doing its job that well. Here we go then, Billy Rydell has got his foot into the start hold. He's going to try and jump it straight to the end, and does. Route setters, get your beers out and bring them over here. The life of the route setter is not a pretty one. Billy Rydell skips out the entire sequence, and the crowd goes wild because it's that man Yone Kruder, also a top on number 3. Media team.
He didn't even do it via the jump.
That was really impressive, actually. They put the blocker on there to try and stop guys getting both hands in the starting jug to go direct. And he managed to sort of shimmy a little hand just above the blocker and still go straight to the top. As Yannick Floe is having a bit of a nightmare on this kind of extreme walking here on number 4. Not much of a show on this one, but it's technically really, really tricky. It's all about standing up into that finish hold. A bit of a judging nightmare on this one as well. Slow and steady push into that final hold. So Yannick just trying to find something. He was there, just trying to find some little edge or bit of feature. Hopefully the carpenters have done their job properly and there's no little edges or screws sticking out. Just again dynamically pushing into it and tips off. Judging what deems as control on a non-hold like that is really, really tough sometimes for the judges, so I wouldn't want to be a judge down there.
And number 4. That style of move as well, it looks like it's a really hard one for the competitor to judge. Are you jumping to the hold, or are you jumping into balance? And if the hold is in a position that puts you a little bit out of balance, it can really catch you out. Jump into balance first and then maybe touch the hold. We shall see later on a few more attempts, a few more climbers to come on that boulder.
Looking forward to seeing the next Slovenian out, Katja Kadic. Big recovery from injury again in 2019, so great to see her back on the scene. Really the second big Slovenian superstar to feature in this semi-final.
And on the men's boulder, it's Hannes Puman from Sweden. Eyeing up the distance. I'm going to walk around on the mat, both climbers. Blowing some chalk off the holds.
Puman's had a haircut since last time I saw him. He was featuring a ponytail.
Was he?
I think there's a bit of a story there as well about he had to keep his hair long until he made a finals, and then when he made a finals, he was allowed to cut it.
That's great.
Mia Krampel going well here on women's number 4. Not seen a top on this one yet.
Also Gregor there on his final boulder.
Mia Krampel onto the
Number 4 for
penultimate
men as
hold
well.
on women's number 4. Really statically through this boulder as well. Looks like we're going to see a top. It's only women's number 3 that's not been top now. That looks like it's going to divide the field. Number 3 on International Women's Day. Women absolutely crushing here. This is boulder number 3. Really, she's looking for that with her right hand on the zone hold there. Ooh, big dry fire off the crimp.
That's the first time I think we've seen somebody through to the zone on that boulder. Suddenly goes into 2 really terrible crimps.
This is Katja Kadic. Seems like a bit of a must now, number 1 in both categories. Pretty much all 4 is a must, it would seem, so far in the men's competition. Katja just pushing out the final moves now. Just eking up the slab, slowly creeping away to the finish hold. Nice and statically there from Katja. Just kept it under control the whole time.
Oh, Gregor was really close. Well saved there with the toe hook catch. Not what he was planning.
Yeah, there is basically no hold there. There's nothing you can grab whatsoever. So it's, like Kaz said, about jumping into control and then touching the finish hold. Alberto Inez Lopez now fighting hard here on men's number 3. This is a superb looking boulder. Really seems to be doing its job as well. We have just seen Yone Kruder find a top here. It's a big fight here. He is the fighter, Alberto.
Oh, that was so close. It was a very good effort from Alberto. He looked a little bit smaller than Yone on that top move. Yone cruised through it. Back on the crimps. You can zoom it in there. You can see how small that next crimp is.
Let's see how Katrine van der Sane gets on with this one. Judge is not happy with starting position. I think she knew it. Gregor back onto this finishing move. As Puman in the background eventually sticks the jug. Gregor getting really frustrated down on the far left-hand side.
Still managing to smile though. 1 minute. Buzzer gone. Puman making good progress. Swing and drop down. Right hand onto the top. Yeah, we'll be happy with that.
I love the storylines of route setting as the round develops. I would say it's wrong to say things have or haven't worked. The boulder is the boulder, and competitors are let loose on it, and the stories develop through the round. So, men's number 1, it's supposed to be a coordination jump, but there seems to be 3, 4, or 5 different methods through there. And I think that in itself is a really exciting thing.
And at the same time, we develop our own stories within that. You're trying to read the progress of the competition in a certain way, and it turns out completely different. It's great. Well, there you go, Yoni at the front, heading down all the way to the other side of the wall for his final boulder.
I think Gregor's walking away there from number 4, looking a little bit annoyed that he couldn't find that balance position. Leo from France, Leo Favreau's early top on that boulder is looking increasingly better and better as the round goes on.
Next climber out for the men's. On men's number 1 is Tim Werthner from Germany. Sure, he will have a bit of support in the crowd.
Quintana Iltis from France will be starting her campaign down on the far right-hand side. Made multiple podiums in the European Youth Cups. Again, 16 years old. Breaking onto the adult circuit. finds an early technique that's slightly different to the other competitors, really high up. Other female athletes have had their feet lower. I haven't really seen much action this high up.
Yeah, she drops back down now onto those feet.
It's nice.
She doesn't need to be low. Looks pretty comfortable on this boulder at the moment.
Nice little triple there from Tim from Germany. Does it as the full coordination move.
Going for the heel for the finish by the looks of it.
Yeah, the Alberto heel. He was the first guy to use that method. Oh, nice little chop across and release. Some great aesthetic moves here on men's number 1. And a superb and controlled top there from Quintana from France. Looked solid all the way from the first time she pulled on that slab.
Kypros on the swing, drop down, quite close to holding that first undercut. Not quite there yet. Julia Fisher making very good progress on her boulder number 4. Wow, spoke too soon. We just saw Mia earlier on there cruising that top section, and Julia getting very close, but wasn't to be. Yoni Kruder over on the left-hand side on his 4th boulder as he edges his way across this slab. Very balanced boulder. Not quite finding it's as comfortable as some of the climbers we've seen before.
Good little transition onto the zone hold crimp there for the guys on number 4, rolling into that side pause. Kypros Baltrunas looking solid. That's the move, really. That's separating the field at the moment on number 3.
Looks at his hand. That is a slide on that hold that is going to remove a lot of skin if you're not holding it first time. Up close and personal here with Tiba. Going for the low option. We've seen this sequence work before. Doesn't look like the easiest method. Don't think you'd fit in that box, Michael.
Definitely not. I don't think my knees would enjoy that. Look at Yoni on this transition into the crimp.
Julia as well going as strong.
I was going to say, Julia going really well. She's been up this high previous attempt. Looks like it's all power in the shoulders. A nice little press down move. Right shoulder, left leg. Full span. Really steep that section of wall. Just kicking the climbers off. So much force going through the ankles and knees on this lower section. Super awkward if you're going really low like that.
Not so many tops in this rotation on the back end of the field. He's
Kypros is walking off with just over 35 seconds left. Doesn't like the look of that one anymore. Burnt enough skin on that.
Good few shouts in the crowd going out to Billy on men's 2.
This is it for Yoni, making that transition onto that really bad foothold.
That's the first time he's got out there as Yoni. Can he make it count with this last move?
The slowest death ever. Trying to pull his chest into the wall to get his centre of gravity closer and closer on that last move. He's going to be pretty annoyed about that. He was so close to the top there.
This is our first view. Roland Rugens from Latvia, back after injury. He'll be super happy to be back here and able to compete again.
Good to see Chloe Collier from Belgium. Somehow just 23 years old still. She just seems to have been in the game for a very long time. It's great to see her. She's always pretty much there or thereabouts, always featuring in the IFSC semi-finals. Quite a few heartbreaks, 7th place finishes for her as well. Always just seems to be knocking on the door of finals the last couple of years. Hopefully we can see her progressing to finals here tonight. She's always puts on a good show. Does look like men's number 4 is doing its job at the moment, Gaz.
Yeah, fast start for Alberto. He's already progressing across the walk. So it's not really too much of a walk. It looks quite hard, actually. But you get the picture. So he's on the zone. This was where Jurny seemed to have a lot of difficulties transitioning from the left hand to the right hand and then making the foot swap to get out onto this volume where Alberto's got his left foot. Interesting method there, Alberto trying to hold the very blunt arrête with the right hand. Back down the right hand end of the wall. See the first few boulders. Good top there for Katrina from France. She'll be happy with that. Good start to her semi-final.
Yeah, good top from Chloe Collier down on the right as well. Giatakis. I think that was actually Chloe down there, Gaz, on the far right.
Chloe, sorry, yeah, Chloe Collier. Good top.
It's hard to keep up the action climbers all across the wall.
Here we are, Katja Kadek just trying to eye up this quite interesting sequence. We've seen multiple attempts at the low method, but it does seem the high toe hook method seems to be one of the best. Alberto again on number 4. Again struggling. We saw quite a lot of the field early doors get through this zone move and going for the top. What seemed to be looking like a relatively easy boulder, and now we're having people that are struggling on it. Alberto's got the right hand on it. We've just switched to Rowlands. Looking strong there. Great effort, Roland Ruggans. He'll be pleased with that. Good start to his semi-final.
Alberto just looking for that stand-up. It's a bit of a heartbreaker down there.
He did go for that really static method to find the balance in the corner, but it does look maybe that you do need to make contact with that final hold to keep you in.
Yeah, we've mentioned him a couple of times now, Leo Favreau's effort on that first climber out. He really did seem to just eke something out of the hold. We don't really know what, but it might have just been the most micro amount that just helps pull the hips in, pull the chest close to the wall and find that balance point.
And the route setters probably went, oh no. But it seems to be turning out okay. Alberto's back on, palming out on the wall. Slowly but surely, edging his way along. He's already been to the final move.
Zanzidar there, screaming. Just that undercut right hand pinch that seems to be separating the field really nicely on men's number 3. How much time gets burnt on the slab.
Alberto really struggling that time to get his foot out. Opting not to brush these holds. They are quite small, quite poor, and polyurethane as well. But he's back on very quickly. Only 18 seconds on the clock. He's going to have to move quick for such a slow boulder.
Just out of shot, we have just seen Katja Kadic walking away, unfortunately, from women's number 2. No top for her. Alberto runs out of time.
That's it for Alberto. His round is over. His semi-final is finished.
Yeah, it's 3 tops at the moment in the men's competition. Top of the leaderboard. Hopefully at some point soon we'll start to be able to bring you the full tower of results rather than the individuals.
And we see our first Austrian competitor, first of 3 in the men's field. Jan-Luca Posch.
Yeah, second Austrian in the women's competition. And don't need too much introduction. Jessie Pills, qualified for the Olympics. Potentially one of 2 or 3 climbers here really looking for to put their name out there as, I'm going really well this season, watch out for me, and Jessie Peels has got to be one of those.
Yeah, we saw Jessie
Here to
putting
prove
in
a
a
point.
very good performance here last year as well. Sure, she's gunning for a good result again. Billy very solidly through that initial start sequence. And a slightly taller competitor. This might suit him a bit better. This big move out into the undercut. We've seen people struggle catching the undercut and planting the foot on the volume. Yeah, that's going for the lank way, I guess, instead of the jump into it.
High chance of another quick top here. Men's number 1.
Gianluca looking comfortable. I think that was 2 attempts for him.
Jessie Peels just working her way through this section, really putting a lot of effort in to make sure she gets the flash on this bowler, doing it first time. And she does.
Good solid start for the pair of Austrians there on block number 1. This is Katrina, I think, from France.
Quintana.
Yeah, bib number 10. Very good top.
Yeah, Quintana from France did well there.
Quintana, apologies.
Look at the world's smallest start list. Now then, what can Kypros make of this slab?
I'm not sure what part of the hold he just held there in that spot. We
Wrapped
know
his
that hold
finger
well,
around
but I
it.
think he was crimping the back of it.
Now this is the move, really. It's all about the stand-up. It's really pumping that left foot to try and get some initial weight on it. But all the weight is really on the right. Right foot's got something, right hand's got something, left side has nothing. It's just going to go into the stand-up. Oh, nicely done. That could be huge. Gives it the pistols.
Kypros are very happy with that one. Could bump him up the field quite a lot.
Yeah, nicely done. End up being two tops for him.
No, all smiles here in the commentary cupboard. We've just been delivered some cake. Can't beat it. Service with a smile.
Can't believe you just called it a commentary cupboard. It does feel like that at the moment.
Yeah, no, it's really nice in here this year.
Yeah, we're isolated away from the noise and the
Dust.
The dust is more, especially so the computers can deal with it. We are in the studio block main hall. We're just away from the competition wall. It's nice and toasty.
Yeah, we've even got a heater for our feet. Hannes there battling away.
Let's see how Billy can get back on this section of pinches. He's been through this lower section. Pretty cool move here. The sort of the flying jump, the drop down jump.
This is the boulder we're still waiting to see a top on for the women's.
Yeah, it's really that rail underneath the roof that's causing a lot of the heartbreak on that one. Billy couldn't find a top on number 2, so this is really important for him there. Looks like he's just going to try and go direct to the pinch this time. It's a
That'd
good
be a
effort.
seriously hard method, that would.
Billy thinking outside the box. It worked for him on number 1, the only climber to skip the entire boulder and go from first hold to last.
Billy stepping out there. Only 10 seconds left on the clock.
This round is actually developing quite nicely here. It was a lot of action early on. The first sort of half of the draw. You can see the big tower of results. We can see it's Lucia Tarkas from Slovenia up the top of the pile at the moment in the women's competition.
3 tops, 4 zones for the leader at the moment. Mia Krampel, 3 tops, 3 zones, just in second place. We are into a new rotation and we have the Studio Block Masters champion out on the mat. In 2019, it's Anze Perhaj. Had a little chat with him yesterday. He was pretty happy with his qualification, lost a little bit of skin, but he'll be motivated to climb again today, that's for sure.
There you can see French athlete Flavie Cohot World ranked third in the youth bouldering setup at the moment, just 18 years old. She'll be coming to the end of her youth climbing career very shortly. See what she can do in the adult scene. Did well in qualification. 13th through the round yesterday. Yes, in the men's competition, 2 Slovenians at the top of the rankings at the moment. Gregor Vazonik and Jone Kruder. This is nice here. Now on men's number 3.
Fighting hard there, Dan.
Easy top in the end for Flavika Ho.
And Jay looking good now. He's through the hardest moves. We've not seen anybody fall off from this last move.
His dream season really last year started with the win here at Studio Blockmasters. Proves that these pre-season events, how important they are.
Third attempt there. And Jay to the top. This is Zan Suda. He's already been in this place once before. Been in this position now. This is the move, as we've already seen multiple times.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no point in just trying to go up to that hold and trying to grab it, because there's really
There's
pretty
not
much
a lot
nothing
there.
See how Rowlands gets on men's number 2. Cruz, the coordination jump on number 1.
Looking strong through this section. Low Rowlands, this move is... Didn't quite get onto the hold there. Didn't really jump over, as we saw before.
You can see the massive dust build up from the chalk, the bottom of the wall here already. That will start to affect the conditions on the big volumes and the spears, the slabs especially. And we found that yesterday, Gaz, we climbed right at the end of the day yesterday. Some 600 or 700 competitors have been around the wall before us there, and things that you could happily just stand on. The conditions really deteriorated by the end of the day.
Yeah, it was great. I kept scraping the chalk off the floor of me, filling my chalk back up. There's so much of it.
Classic Northerner from Northern England. Every opportunity to make a bit of cash. This is better here from Katja Kanic. Controls the zone with the right hand. Can she push out? This is a desperately small crimp. She's going to a crimp that's even worse, but really rotates nicely on the right heel this time. Oh, fingertips.
Come on. Little tickle of the hold there. That was super close.
Really big effort there from Katja. Under a minute to go. I think she might be able to have just one last go with 30 seconds left probably.
Roland Rugen's back on this move, maybe a little bit more commitment. Sadly cut away, we didn't see that attempt.
He is walking off the mats now, Rowlands. We didn't miss too much there. Zan Sudar putting in a big fight here.
The clock is counting down. Zan is the man on the wall at the moment. This last move, we've not seen this done for a little while. Oh.
Not sure if he could have stopped in that position anyway, just as the clock was running down. Sjasa Slemensek, also from Slovenia, will be joining us in the women's competition now.
Our second Austrian male out on the mat as well. Nikolai Uznik.
So much pressure in the Slovenian team, especially in the women's team, with so many strong climbers. Just seems every time you turn onto a stream for a big competition, it's just blizzard of Slovenians. And Sjasa Slemensek just joins the heights. He's looking for that big result. dizzy heights of the Slovenian team. It seems if you're not on the podium, it's not worth coming.
I mean, it is really, truly amazing, the absolute depth and strength in the field. Sasha going for the higher foot method there, as we've seen once before. Then you need to drop back down to get back onto that low foothold. Seems pretty comfortable though. Obviously going well to qualify this height into the semi-final. Left-hand side of the screen, you can see Billy on his final boulder, one of the taller competitors in the field. Maybe that'll be an advantage on this. Maybe it won't. His foot swap looks pretty fierce. He's managed to get through that. Swap on the zone.
Rotate the right foot round. Nice little top there. Sasha Slimenček.
Back with Billy. This is the move. This can make a big difference to your result, this one. Two hands. British team in the crowd. Give a big scream there. He'll be happy with that.
Yeah, it's 2 tops for Billy to finish the round. Number 1 and number 4. Don't think that's going to be enough, really. It's a good effort, though, from Billy. Nikolai Uznik.
Nikolai through to the top. Pretty steady on men's number 1.
Still doing its job quite nicely, that boulder, though. Splitting everybody on attempts.
Great shot here, close in on this women's boulder now. Going for the undercut rollover method we've seen from a few climbers earlier on. Jessie's such a rounded competitor, eh, Michael? I mean, she performs on boulder, exceptionally strong, and on the routes as well. Amazing to see.
Yeah, I mean, top 3, really, when it comes to the combined. You would have thought when it comes to the Olympics, it's going to be a fierce battle in the women's competition. Jan, you're sort of leading the charge, really, but it's not going to be easy for her. Jessie's one of those. She's going to be right up there with her. We're looking to start the season well here, Jessie, and she's doing really well on women's number 2. Hits that top hold just on the bad bit on the right-hand side there for a second. Did well to save that. Luckily, the foothold's good enough that she could just fumble the last hold slightly.
Yeah, she was super close there on that, I think. But luck was with her. Still proving a challenge for most, that boulder number 3. And Luca Posch getting close to that little jump over. Very violent movement, that. I'll have to get into the pinch. Too big to cross static, so you flick over the top. "30 seconds, he thinks, is enough to give it another go." Quite cool shot, quite tight in. You can see these quite reasonable pinches there, but terrible feet. Out to the zone again. This is the move. Held it. Quick look at the time. Good effort for the top there with a clock creeping to the end. He'll be really happy with that, Jan-Luca Posch.
That could be huge, actually. 2 tops through the first 2 boulders. 3 tops getting you into finals position at the moment, that top 6 position. Two big names coming out next. We're really getting into the top end of this draw now. Top 6 competitors. Evgenia Kazbekova from Ukraine. Great to see her back in action on the live stream.
Yeah, for sure. And Alexei Rubtsov from Russia. Always strong whenever he's climbing. 31-year-old. Still cranking it.
Well, another guy who's had a massive injury and somehow has just sprung back into action and It's like bionic, just back in the game and right up there into an international field semi-final.
Yeah, he's
Tore his bicep off.
super consistent
Bicep tendon, was
competitor. Yeah, super consistent competitor though as well. He's regularly placing within the top 10. Hitting the first hold then on the run and jump. A little bit of progression on the boulder. Over on the right hand side, Elaine Wolf. Well, she'll have some supporters in the crowd from Germany, making good progress on the slab. We have just switched to the left now, men's final boulder.
Yeah, slightly different angle on it to see what the guys are up against on that foothold.
Hannes Puman trying hard there. See this balance move around the corner. You know that the competitors are not allowed to use those bolt holes. And a little slip for the hand. That's for the brushes to come in.
Chloe Collier shaking off after attempting those couple of crimps. Top end of that women's number 3.
Looks like there's a couple of methods on this men's boulder. Roland going for the drop down into the undercut and then jump over the top. Not quite working for him. Plants him on the mat.
Elena Wolf seems to go really well at these local events. 11th last year. No doubt the home German crowd will be getting right behind her.
You can see quite close in this shot. You can see how bad and slopey that foothold is. It's just gone out a shot on the left-hand side. Over with Angers now. On this block number 3 for the men. This little drop knee comes in. Didn't quite get the thumb around the volume. It looks like you've got to get it as a wide pinch, that move. Rolling through the drop down on men's 3 now.
Katja looking really good here for a top on women's number 4. This is superb. What a comeback this is looking like here from Katja. Can she find the match? Looking for a sort of scuffy right heel. Just got to find that position, just take a bit of weight off that right hand to release. He's not going to let this one drop, surely. Now finds a different foot sequence, goes for drop knee. Nicely done. Always climbing with a smile on her face, Katja Kedic, and that will do nicely to finish her tour.
Hannes just dropping that last move again on the slab. Back over on the right-hand side. Elaine Wolf making good progress here. It's the furthest she's been on this boulder up to now. Alexei on the top. Block number 1 for him.
Elena Wolf then. Oh no, just wobbled on the footholds.
Just saw that head come back and the body follow it.
There's people getting frustrated. There's a lot of climbers in this slab section.
Good camera angle here for this step through. You can see how bad and slopey those footholds are that he's trying to use. How awkward this swap is. Oh, he does it pretty well there. Takes the hand off and just comes in with the right hand. Working it, moving that body weight over onto the left foot. Doing the old hand crawl on nothing. This is all or nothing now. Clock comes down. It did look like he'd misread that hold completely. He tried to grab something that wasn't there rather than go with the thumb. That's his round over. As we go with another rotation. So we've got 2 climbers.
Yeah, it's interesting with the start list here. It's been a start order. It's slightly different to what we've got down on paper, but Evgenia Kuzmakova, we did already intro her, but now she appears on the far right-hand side. Ukraine side by side. That was Maybe they did that just so they can go Ukraine 1-2 next to each other.
Just for a little bit of confusion. Yeah, maybe. So for the men, then it's Sergey Mavrin.
Sergey Topishko there doing the jump.
Topishko. Sorry, apologies with that.
Definitely one of the giants in the round in terms of height. It's always fun keeping up with semi-finals, especially when your lists are slightly wrong. That makes it quite exciting. Keeping up with everybody, but Sergey Topishko, yeah, he's
My paper's wrong. The screen is right.
been round the block a few times. Sergey, it's absolutely massive, really, in terms of the general field of climbing. He's easily working his way into the zone hold there.
He did make that jump look super easy. Skipped the next hold and the next volume, and he's over to the final move. This will be a no problem boulder for him. 2 attempts, I think it was. Good start to his round.
Again, yeah, you can see her down on the far right-hand side representing Ukraine. And nicely done from Yanni Lukaposh. Like a crucial top, it seems, now on men's number 3.
This is it now for Evgenia. This is the move of the boulder.
So good on slabs.
Solid through there.
So
2
many
hands.
times.
Good start.
Yeah, the IFSC last year, the World Cup competitions, World Championships, her crucial results came down to her ability on slabs. She's an absolute master of that style.
Speaking of slabs, we are back over on the left-hand side with Tim Worthner. Already 3 boulders. Dominavari, 1 top on the 4th boulder now. 3 zones already.
I have to say, we talked a little bit early on, those tops coming thick and fast earlier, but it looks like the round is actually working out really well. So lots of fast tops. The route setters and us in the commentary position here definitely got a little bit nervous to start, but it does seem to be working out quite well. Nobody going away with 4 tops yet in either category. It's 3 tops that gets you easily into the final at the moment. Hopefully in the next rotation we'll be able to bring you the full results tally.
Nikolai on the zone then. Goes for the drop knee and smear down on that volume, and then this is the flick over where you've got to take it as a pinch. He opts to go interestingly with the right hand. He possibly realises that is the wrong method. 1:30 on the clock for him.
So struggling a little bit on women's number 2 at the moment from Slovenia. See there, 1 minute 10 seconds left of this rotation.
Still enough time for a top, especially over on that left-hand side, on that really balancy final boulder problem.
Really enjoyable round of boulders so far, guys. I have to say, it's been a few storylines developing.
Good variation, and like you said before, Michael, it looked like it was going to be an easy ride for the climbers, but it's definitely not happened. Tim, way over on the left-hand side, again off that foot swap, and not able to really pull on that right hand hold.
Not getting as much as he would like out of that right hand. Looks like he's going for that other method of the big wrap. Some serious forearm skin getting on board there. Oh, it somehow makes it work. What a battle that was. Has he got anything left to finish this? Because it could be huge. He's running out of time. Nice.
Absolutely on the buzzer there. What a great finish.
That's huge. That is how you put a power down on a boulder. Next rotation. Top 4 climbers in each category on the wall now. Eva Hammermüller from Austria.
From Russia, we've got another Sergey Skurodumov. just keep churning out these climbers, De Russia, as does the Austrian team. The depth and depth in the field is pretty amazing, really.
Eva Hammermüller going for that high option for the feet again. That seems to be coming into use more and more now down the far right-hand side on women's number 1. Sergei Skurdimov just having a look at this men's number 1.
He's already had his first go. Hit the first hold. Second go for Sergei. Looked a little bit better, got both hands to it that time. Here we are in close with boulder number 1. Sasha looking quite good. She's made the step down the cross, and now this is the move.
Yeah, graphics aren't helping us here. That's all of the wrong graphics we've had there for a little bit. So Jessie Pills, Eva Hammermüller is actually on the wall at the moment on women's number 1. Goes for the crossover with the right hand. She's got plenty of time with 3 minutes remaining just to cross up with the right. This seems to be the slightly wrong method, but to sort of try to go a little bit more dynamically there to the finish hold.
Yeah, up to now we've seen most people pressing down with that right hand in a pinch fashion and going with the left hand to the finish. Eva's got plenty of time. Sergei stepping back as well, chalking up, trying to work out how he gets to that hold way out on the left hand side. It's almost halfway across the wall. Here he goes.
Chloe Collier walking back towards the camera there. Didn't get to see what she did. Unfortunately, we'll keep an eye on the scores though. Hopefully we'll be able to bring you the full tally of results at the end of this rotation.
Eva making good progress, as is Anže on the left side. Coming thick and fast, these attempts.
That's close from Alexia Rudtsov. Eva Hammermüller down on the far right-hand side. What can she do this time as Anže Perhac just spins off number 3. Spins out of there. Just building up a lot of chalk on those holds at the moment. You can see where all the fingers have been. You can tell the full journey, the thinking process has been displayed in chalk there. Eva. What did she do this time? She tried to go dynamically to the last hold last time. It's not a great hold. Just tries to push it out, ending up in a bit of a cross palm. Shaking a little bit on that left hand. This time tries to go with the left hand, just ekes it out. And does
2 hands.
Get it done.
Good effort in the end. Didn't look the slickest of methods, but it worked. Got to the top.
Sergei Skurdimov still struggling here on number 1. It's not the start he was looking for. Helena Wolf struggling, looking to better that 11th place from last year. This time, Sergei Skurdimov gets it done. Plenty of time to finish it off and just misses out that next hold on the 1-2-3 catch. Does it as a sort of 1 and a hop. Just gonna get the match now.
A little bit of indecision there for Sergei, but sure he'll get through it.
Top from Rowlands down on the far right-hand side, left-hand side of the wall. Again, Top's coming now. Boulder number 4, so he does seem to be getting a lot more top. So boulders 2 and 3 in the men's competition become really important all of a sudden. Still no top on women's number 3. 3 climbers still to come. So actually start the round. Quite a few climbers still to go through that boulder. There we can see the results. Jone Kruder, 3 tops, 4 zones, and 4 attempts for Jone in first position at the moment. Gregor Vzonik, Yannick Fleur, Jan-Luca Posch after that really impressive top on the previous rotation. All up there. Chloe Collier did find a top. 3 tops for her. No top on 3, but did top 4. Chloe Collier looking pretty set for a position in the finals.
I did notice there to our British viewers that Billy Rydell's just clinging on to a 5th place at the moment. It's going to be fine.
Sergei Pishko will be starting his campaign again as we're joined by Luchka Rakovic, one of the big stars of the 2019 season. really, you would have thought, out to prove herself, really, missing out in that epic battle for Olympic slot with Mia Crampel at the Toulouse event. Sort of absolute heartbreaker scenes there. She gets to focus on just the World Cup season this year.
For the men, it's Pico Ruaz from Italy. We are overweight on the left-hand side.
Jessie Pills. Now, can she make of women's number 4? Doesn't seem to be struggling at all here at the moment.
See what method she chooses for the match. Using this heel looks a hard way, but no problem for Jessie.
That was nice. I saw Katja Kalic really working the feet there, but Jessie Pills looked comfortable on that right heel.
Back with Luchka. Going through that step down sequence.
So composed. Barely a glimmer of struggle there from Luchka Rakovic. Dominated that boulder. Went for the double catch there. That was close.
Nicolai very close. He's got plenty of time to rest on the mat. 2 minutes 40 on the clock.
Climber we've not seen much of in this round yet, Evgenia Kaspakova. Just on top to her name at the moment. Full screen here of men's number 4. You can see that desperate transition round the corner onto that left foot hold, and then the really tricky foot swap. That slide onto the
Jan
foot.
Luca was pretty lucky with that one. It looked like he slid and was going to go off, but he landed the foot. This is the move, though. Trust in that left foot. Step up to pretty much nothing. Steady, slowly.
I don't think the judges will give him that.
He knows it as well. He's disappointed with that move. Evgenia going for an interesting sequence. She's got her foot where her hands probably need to be.
Misha Pekularaz from Italy going great guns on number 1, but has not found the stick of the jump to the first hold. Oh, just to say that. Ooh. I'm not even going to finish that sentence. I can't believe he quite fell off there. Misha.
Nikolai Uznik has got that first move dialed now. Seen him very close to the top on this. Moving fast, strong through this move. Not quite enough though, that right hand is the crux of the boulder, I think.
Misha Pekularaz that time gets it done. Looks like he's going to finish it from here, surely. Once you figure out what to do in that lower move. Seems to be pretty much a procession to the top. Seems to be, it's done its job, that boulder, and an interesting kind of storyline, really. Many different methods have arrived. Only one climber has skipped the entire sequence. That was Billy Riddle so far.
7 attempts, 8 attempts I think it will be for Michael on that. Yeah, 7 and 7. Like you say, Michael, burning up a lot of attempts, splitting the field quite nicely. Tasha struggling on what seems to be the hardest boulder in the women's tour.
See how bad the slopers are at the start.
That's definitely going to burn some skin, that one. Clock counting down now. I think that's it
for Uznik
for this rotation. Yeah, Nikolai walks away. His semi-final is over. Now this is the part of the semi-final we've been waiting for, I think, to an extent. It's Jakob Schubert, obviously super strong at the moment, but the young lady Ariane Bertone is coming out onto the mat.
Yeah, if you've not heard of her before, if you've only been watching the adult events, this is the name to look out for in the future. Just 14 years old. If you're a real geek, you can click on her profile on the IFSC athlete page, and all you'll see is number 1 against her name, 9 first places last year, including the World Championships in Arco for the Youth World Championships. So she is definitely an athlete that many are pegging to be the next superstar. She comes out here with only Janja in front of her. Can she handle the adult crowds, the big scene, the noise, the stress of a bigger competition like this? Time will tell. She's certainly not having issues with that first section. Jakob not getting on with the jump just yet.
I didn't even see Jakob pulling on there. I'm just totally focused on Oriane through this boulder. This is amazing to see, such level of performance at such a young age. And that looked pretty steady away for Oriane.
Seemingly not too many nerves. Slab especially is a kind of classic for being nervous and wobbling off the footholds, as Anže looks to hold something that doesn't exist.
I think this is definitely capable. Anže is definitely capable of doing this boulder, and I think he really needs to get this one in the bag to secure his place, or possible place, in the final. Obviously, he's the champion from last year.
Alexei is going into his usual warrior mode. Men's number 3, an absolute scrapper of a climber. This match, we have seen this work. Incredible recovery from injury, Alexei Rubtsov.
Jakob eyeing the direct version. Looks like he switched his attention back to the route setter's preferred method.
Anže looks so comfortable there. He's just got to figure out how to pull his weight into the centre, right into the slab, and there it is. That is control on the finish hold. Anže. It's going to be 2 tops for him. It's getting really close now in the men's competition. Jakob Schubert, with only half his time remaining, he's got some work to do here. Nice little top there from Eva Hammelmuller. She's going well so far. Looks like Jakob's going to have another look at the direct.
Now having a look at the direct. Slightly different method to what Billy tried. No, sacks that off. Back to the preferred route setter's method. Did go for the double there.
It's quite a surprising start here from Jakob Schubert. So it's a bit of a love-hate relationship with these coordination moves. Parkour, running jumps, circus, whatever you want to call it. All involves a lot of attempts, a lot of lost skin. Some people going away really annoyed. Interesting, he's trying to go 1-2, one hand on the bottom hold, right hand up to the middle hold. As we've seen other guys just controlling that lower hold. Alexei now back in for the fight on the pinches.
Alexei fighting hard there, going for the left hand underneath again. He's hit this top hold once. Needs to give it some this time. Oh, over it again, just not able to hold it. It's not really got a lip to it.
He's going to walk away as well there, Alexei Rubtsov. Flavie Cohot wearing 13 on the back, she's walking away. Jakob with 10 seconds left, he's probably got enough time.
Jakob
if he goes
needs
really
to move
fast
here.
Pedaling all of a sudden. Oh, that's huge. The biggest
What a
moment
moment.
of the comp so far. That was massive.
No idea how many attempts that will have been.
19 or 20 attempts, it says.
That is a lot of effort, but he's got through that boulder.
Final climbers out then. A real surprise to say it's going to be Janja Garnbret coming out last, first place from qualifiers. Really one of the biggest celebrities in climbing and outside of climbing, especially in Slovenia. Lead world champion, boulder world champion, combined world champion, future Olympian, hasn't lost a bouldering competition for a very long time. Let's see how she's going here. Early doors in this 2020 season. There's so much pressure on Yanya's shoulders every time she comes out. Even yesterday, if you were wondering where Yanya were, didn't really need to look for her. Just look for the massive crowd of media following her around the qualifications.
Yeah, it must certainly be tough.
Sergei Depishko,
for some of
just
these
out
climbers.
shot, has found the top into shot on men's number 3.
Yeah, it was a super fast top for Sergei.
And a top for Luchka as well.
Meanwhile, Yanya still going. That's 1 hand, 2 hands on the top. Boulder number 1 is in the bag. That'll calm the nerves a little bit, I think.
Does she get nervous?
Probably.
Superhuman.
I'm sure internally those conversations are going on. It's just all how you manage to deal with them, isn't it?
Vadim Timonov.
Opting for the heel hook method for the last move.
He's had an incredible winter outdoors bouldering. Looks like he's just blasted that one off, no problem. That's the final climbers with Vadim and Yanya on boulders number 1. So that boulder is now done.
Yeah, like you said, Mike, he's had an amazing season this winter out in Switzerland. It was 8C after 8C after 8C, but also in super quick times as well. Very impressive. And it looks like he's still retained his abilities on the plastic.
Yanya Kazbekova now on women's 3. Still no top on 3 in the women's competition. Four climbers still to go through that one. Looks like we're definitely looking for a top.
Sasha just holding her back there a little bit after just being spat back onto the mat off that start move of her boulder number 4.
Such an exciting prospect, Oriane versus Yanya in the women's competition. Can't wait to see how that develops over the next half an hour or so.
Meanwhile, over on the left-hand side, we still have Nikolai fighting to stay on this slab boulder. Now this is the move we've seen before. 1 hand, 2 hands.
Nicely done. Good use of the right foot just to flag up the wall behind him. Tiniest toe drag. It may have been just the tiniest little thing that kept him on there. You can see how much tension was required just to bring in the right hand for the match. Seeing quite a few tops now. Men's number 4. Close up Amisha Bikuleraz. Always seems to have a handkerchief on hand. Noticed that over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
No good having a runny nose halfway through a boulder.
Yanya dumped unceremoniously down on the mat. Less than 1 minute remaining. Miko back in action here on the zone. This is the move as we've seen before. Strong through the move, just needs to, yes, get it under control. Good top there.
Yeah, nice top from Misha Bikuleraz. Superb job. Topping on boulders number 2 and 3, as we just said a minute ago, is starting to look really important now.
That's it, I think climbers are going to call it a day. The clock counts down. We are down to only 2 boulders left in this final now. I'm not quite sure where he's going there. 3 boulders left, I should say.
Yeah, took a bit of skin there on the first one. Jakob Schubert. So we will do our best just to keep you up to date with everything that's going on. There's just a slight technical going on with some of the graphics. That's why it's been causing a little bit of confusion. I do apologise for that for you guys at home.
Eva gets
round
underway,
progresses.
though, on this boulder. Again, we've still not seen the top on this.
Looking forward to seeing 14-year-old, there she is, Oriane Bertone from France. See what she can make of this quite complex slabby climb. Looks like she's read it as a bit of a jump across, or a quick lean at best.
Yeah, a bit of a tough one, that. It does look like it might be possible that way, but you are going over into an undercut. No friction on top of it.
Alexei Rubtsov down on the slab as Jakob Schubert. It's interesting to see how much energy he would have used on those massive amount of attempts on men's number one, but if anybody's got the fitness to get through this steep boulder, it's Jakob. Nice little release. Oh, goes for the 1-2 method. Hits that as the Gaston with the right hand. It's really nice from Jakob, showing real class. As always with Jakob Schubert, multiple World Cup winner in lead and boulder. Gets it done, surely on the path to a finals position. Oriane just trying to figure out what to do here. Not opting for any of those toe hooks under the dual texture side of those volumes.
Sergei from Russia, looking good now. This is the last move. Few people have dropped it from here. It's not that great, that finishing hold, and it's quite a big move as well. No, not this time.
See how Alexei can finish off his tour.
One hand, two. Nice control there.
Such an interesting finish to a boulder, that. It's a nice work from the route setters. It just seems to be, you can either find balance straight away and it's really easy, like easy as easy it gets, or you cannot find the balance point and you wobble off every single time.
And the competitors are being super careful as well to make sure that they really do get given that match. You know, overstaying their welcome on that hold.
Oriane, who we just saw there, is actually struggling a little bit on here, women's number two. Helena Wolf, giving it everything she's got. We saw that last year, putting the body on the line.
Still smiling though, Helena. We've only seen one person through this move. It's definitely the boulder to look out for when the latter part of the semi-final gets through there. We're obviously looking forward to Janja on that. Although she does have a couple of other things to deal with before she arrives there.
It's that big release move there from Helena Wolf.
This is good progress this time.
Eva Haubenmüller, can she find that right hand, that next crimp, find the position that makes it work? All 3 points on the volume there. It's a desperate move. Sort of interesting storyline developing that hopefully we can see now. We can. Oriane Bertone, we've just given the huge big up to, who's really struggling on number two, not finding the method at all in the lower part of the slab. Hasn't even used the toe hook, I don't really think. Let's see what method she uses this time. So that's the one that a lot of the athletes have been using as a toe hook. Not going for the foot swap at the moment. Potentially reading that as a bit of a dynamic move, and Oriane walks away. She's gonna have to really catch up on boulders 3 and 4 now.
Calling it a day on that boulder. Couldn't quite see the method. Sometimes that is the case. No matter how much talent and strength you have, if you don't see the actual method, it's not going to happen.
2 Ukrainians leading the run down the mat. Sergei Topishko, Evgenia Kazbekova. They're running down all the way, the big jog down the mats. Janja then, just seen Oriane Bertone really struggling on this one. Janja show some class on number 2. In many ways, it's hard to say really, but people expect Janja to top everything. We had it last year here, really low topped semi-final round. Janja came out and did all 4. Let's see what method she reads here. It's a test of route reading more than anything else, this boulder, it seems.
This is interesting. I did think Oriane wanted to put that left foot there, but she couldn't seem to get it up there. She looked at the method a few times, but didn't do it. Janja,
The absolute confuser, this boulder.
not a problem. Looks like it's a lot of ways to climb this boulder. Don't think we've seen it done like this before, but currently it is working for Janja. There's a foothold down there somewhere. Just needs to find it.
That was interesting. She's put her head down, eyeballed it, put the head back into a position, and then just went around and found it with her foot.
Yeah, we did get quite a few tops on this quite early doors, and then it's been a little bit of a tussle. But Janja looking good.
Nice flash from Janja.
Good flash there.
Still in cruise control. It's going to be all eyes on her on the next couple of rotations when she gets onto boulder number 3. Sergei Topischko then. What can he make of men's number 4? He's definitely one of the bigger guys, as Janja Kazbekova jumping around in the background. Unfortunately, at the moment, it does look like the result system has gone down the Swanee. This just gives an opportunity to focus purely on the action. Just a little bit of an overlean. As soon as that momentum starts going over to the left-hand side, it seems really hard to stop. Vadim Timonov.
I was just thinking they've got the distance really nicely dialed on that move. I mean, obviously, Sergei is one of the tallest climbers in this field and unable to reach the hold. Has to still do it the dynamic way, as do the smaller climbers. It seems to have worked for everybody, which is really nice to see.
See how Luchka gets on just behind Vadim Timonov.
Vadim looking very strong at the moment.
It's a nice move, that sort of big pounce over, and you ended up palming down with the right hand as you catch the left. Vadim Timonov looking to finish this one off then, and does.
Fast descent there by Vadim. Luchka using the liquid chalk.
Sergei Topischko then, let's see what he can make this time. It's so close for him, but it's not really a hold, so it doesn't matter where the actual position is in terms of his arms. He can't reach it, so he does have to get that stand up, same as everybody else.
Still got to find the balance, hasn't he?
We just see the hands creeping around the hole, just trying to find absolutely anything.
And there's absolutely nothing there. Great boulder.
1 minute left of this rotation then. Luchka got the front 3-finger drag. Now wraps it into the full right hand crimp. That's the big release move that route setters were looking for. It's a cool move. Short build up in that volume.
Sergei back on track on this final boulder in his rotation. He's been there a few times. Michael going well now. He's got foot goes. Sergei's going for another attempt. Only 10 seconds on the clock. Evgenia very close to the top of her 4th boulder, but can't make it. Time's out.
It's close there from Misha Pikulas from Italy as well. Bit of a heartbreaker for him. Four climbers now join us for the next rotation.
After Jakob's slightly slow start on that first boulder, he's back on track with a quick ascent of the second. Now he is eyeing up this third. Oriane, meanwhile, no ascent on the second boulder for her. No zone. She's the last of two climbers. Sorry, not last, second to last of the two climbers remaining.
I thought this is going to be quite important, this boulder now, with a bit of a struggle on number 2. Jakob swinging into action, does it as a little 1-2 catch. You know that this top section is the bit tricky bit. Pouncing out of that left pinch. Having the left toe hook or heel hook does seem to be a good method. This is where we saw Misha chopping across, but Jakob Schubert controlling it really nicely. Just got to chuck to that finish hold now. A really awkward position to get out of. Hits it and slides on it, but somehow holds it. Jakob Schubert is going really well now.
Great.
Looks like the standout athlete today, really.
Yeah, at the moment he's looking super strong. Great bit of coordination there as well. He did flip that left hand from the undercut to the pinch just to maintain a bit more control on the finish.
Sergei Skuderdimov just trying to push into this finish position. It's becoming very familiar now, this last move in the men's competition. Oh, that was really nice. Just a nice little plant of the right foot, just dragging down the wall and into the side of the volume from Skuderdimov.
Eva from Austria making good progress now on her final boulder as well. We've seen this top section is still super hard. Can't quite hold that. Penultimate hold.
Unfortunately, the entire results system is offline at the moment, so we can't bring you up-to-date results. We know roughly what's going on.
Well, we know Orion's on the wall.
We know, well, importantly, we've got a potential superstar on the wall.
That was close.
Yeah, that's a move that featured really first at the Meiringen World Cup in the men's competition, and it's good to see the route setters bringing that out. The big release, the one-handed catch as you release, hold the toe. Nice move.
Yeah, very similar, the toe hook catch there. Rotation out on it, just a different setup.
Yeah, not
quite nice to see.
Yeah, out of a roof instead. Oriane, you start to see that when she gets psyched, she gives it a bit of a flick of the wrists and a grit of the teeth.
Lots of support in the crowd for her, this young superstar. She's held it.
How small she is, it's a full cut loose on that move. Let's see then, can she get into this top 2 crimps, find a first top here?
My money's on the top here.
She's got to pull really hard, just got to get the heel lock out a little bit.
Come
Find
on.
it.
Oh,
Had the height,
I've
was
lost
a bit
my
far
money.
off to the right. Yeah, she seemed to have the strength and the power, just came up a little bit on the right-hand side of the hold.
It looks really hard to do that off the heel. I think the heel seems to be the natural one to get in, but just still sitting a bit too low on it.
Just based on previous results. Men's competition is pretty safe to say Jone Kruder, Gregor Vazonik, Jakob Schubert will all be up there in tonight's final.
Meanwhile, Eva is back on the zone again. She's been here before. Can she get a little bit more out of this attempt? Not quite.
Just to go full cut loose on that, just being a bit shorter. She's only 14 years old. Worked out as a pretty decent semi-final after a big flurry of tops at the beginning.
We are just left with 2 ladies on the wall now. Only 1, 2 down on the mat. I think that is pretty much it for this rotation. It's 25 seconds on the clock. Both ladies call it a day. Oriane's still smiling, which is nice to see.
Yeah. No top on 2 or 3 for her. It's the final rotation. Boulder number 3 then, Gaz. Hasn't been topped. Last climber out. Janja Garnbret. Is it going to be the Janja story once again? It's almost a replay of what happened last year. Luchka Rakovic works her way down to 4. Misha Bakularaz will be on the slab. Vadim Timonov will be on 3. And Janja also on 3. No tops in women's 3.
I think it's certainly hard to bet against Janja topping this boulder.
Here we go then. Has a quick look. Last opportunity for a top. How much better is Janja Garnbret than the other athletes on this boulder? Struggling to find the toe lock at the moment. Or the toe hook, excuse me, not a lock. Goes for the double pounce. It's obviously not easy. And a really quick top just there for Lučka Rakovic. From Slovenia, she's gone really well today.
Lučka didn't look like she struggled on that boulder so much. Vadim through first move of his boulder number 3. Just this last move to negotiate. It's a tough one we've seen already.
Nice top from Timonov.
Yeah, Timonov definitely looking quite strong on the plastic at the moment, as well as on the rock.
Janja back on for her second attempt then. Really not happy at the moment getting that toe hook in. Opts to bump the right hand first this time. Body tension required to flick that toe hook in. Oh, holds the swing. This is the moment then. It's a really hard way of doing that lower section. Let's see how Janja gets on the next session. Absolutely closes the thumb over the fingers. She's not going to be letting go of that crimp anytime soon. Does go for the heel method, tucks the head in. Ekes a little bit more out the hill, still comes up short. Absolutely crimping the living daylights out that zone hold, and that is a very, very hard boulder. A good test here. This is a really good benchmark from the route setters to see what the level is of these athletes. So they will be resetting a quick rotation reset for the women's final coming a bit later on this afternoon, and they can use this as a real benchmark as to judging the level of their other boulders later. I think it's good to have a hard boulder in there.
Michael progressing again across the start of this final boulder. Seen it before, it all comes down to the final move. The Italian choosing there to go and find the balance, didn't quite find it. Shunning the non-finishing hold. Eyes are back on Janja. Still plenty of time on the clock for this boulder. Hopefully that crimp has not done too much damage to her skin. It's shockingly small.
The forearms there, potentially. A big effort in the last time. Janja will not want to be defeated by a boulder. She's a true climber's climber. Result comes secondary to climbing hard. Just a big swing. Gets it under control a bit quicker this time. That seems to be crucial, this foot position. So we just cut away for Misha Bakula as gets a top. Janja does hit it, goes direct off the left heel this time rather than the right foot. We were talking about the only top on women's free. Janja Garnbret doesn't disappoint. Does she ever? Gets it done, and that was the moment everybody was waiting for. 19 climbers have been through that boulder. Nobody could find a top. Janja Garnbret does it again. Look how psyched she is. Just wants to crush boulders.
That's an insanely small pair of holds on the top of that boulder. Opted for the left foot low in the heel. The only person to have tried that's got to that height, and really did show her class. That is a very short boulder as well. I mean, that must be brutally hard, that boulder.
Yeah, what it came down to is thinking, though. She's a thinking climber. She knew that the right heel, she got way too bunched on that volume and then ended up just putting the left foot down instead of using the right heel, and it was absolutely the right method.
So, one of the older superstars of the game, and probably the youngest superstar of the game, standing side by side on the mat on their fourth boulders.
Just whilst these guys were standing on the mats, we do have to apologise. The result system has completely gone
AWOL.
AWOL, to say the least. So doesn't look like we'll be bringing you any of the results. We're pretty sure Jakob's going to make it through. For Oriane, it's unlikely at this stage in the competition because we've seen so many tops and she's struggled on all of the boulders apart from number 1 at the moment. Jakob Schubert should be home and hosed, as they say, with 3 quick tops. Well, 2 quick tops and 1 absolute battle on number 1. But
20 plus attempts, I think it was. Still needs to get out across this pretty tricky boulder. Really weird transition.
Oriane showing a little bit of class here to finish her round through this powerful section. Do you wonder how much yesterday's competition took out of her?
Trying super hard there, head went back, but she managed to stay on.
It's going to be 2 tops for Oriane. Good way to finish the round.
Yeah, looks super solid through that last sequence as well. Good to see. Jakob on the last move of his 4th boulder. Goes with a little bit too much gusto. Taking quite a long time to get out there. 3 minutes left on the clock for him though. Our penultimate pair of climbers.
Quite surprising on a boulder like that for the climbers not to come out with something to clean their shoes with. So much dust on the mats now. A lot of the guys bringing out an old t-shirt or a towel or something to wipe the boots.
Yeah, I think the only climber we saw with a towel in this round was Billy. Not that it helped too much, but I think it's something that you would expect a bit more of some of these competitors. Like you say, with all that dirt on the mats, they are picking it up on the feet. And this boulder does rely quite a lot on friction for that last move. Jakob still wearing a stiffer shoe for this boulder.
Yeah, really getting towed down on the George extra stuff. This is it then, a very familiar push to the finish hold. Almost no point even looking at the hold and do anything for you. Jakob moving a bit faster. The right leg did go up for the air flag, the lesser known air flag.
Yeah, and it looked good. It just in the first part of that movement looked really good, and then seemed to pick up a bit of speed. And toppled off. Still plenty of time for him though. 1:20 on the clock. All eyes are on Jakob.
Obviously, we haven't actually got any results to bring you guys because the system is down, but we're pretty sure Jakob's safely through anyway with his 3 tops. I thought so. Still a bit of a struggle here from Jakob. He's not going to be giving up anytime soon, though. Saw that on boulder number 1.
He's definitely a try-hard kind of guy, and he just gives it absolutely his all, whether it's bouldering or lead.
Yeah, proper
he
competitor.
does excel in both formats. It's been around for a long time. It's almost coming on for 10 years since Jakob won 7 gold medals in lead in 2011. And he's still here, absolutely at the top of his game.
Still doesn't find the balance point. He walks away, smiling face, he knows he's done enough.
Tried for another option there, the looking straight up in the air option, not at the hold. Didn't quite work for him.
Final rotation then. And yeah, Vadim Timonov come back out. Just 4 minutes, 40 seconds of action left then. Eddie, you've managed to scrape yourself off the mats and just quickly joined us here in the booth. How is it out there? We don't have any results, by the way. The result system has gone down across the building, apparently.
Okay, well, it's actually really hard to tell the results when you're on the mats, of course, because you're in the middle of it. You're not seeing everyone. Obviously, Janja cruising to first place in qualification at the moment, just dominant on the third boulder, and her and Chloe are really the only two that have made number 4 look...
Oh, like a warm-up.
Yeah, look like a warm-up. But the reason I dropped back in was just to say I wasn't sure if you guys had seen in the booth that Chloe was favouring one of her arms quite heavily, and on the second boulder she thinks she blew something in her elbow. So she heard a pop and felt a lot of pain, and she went on to still flash the 4th boulder and obviously top the 2nd boulder and get zone on the 3rd, but she's not sure if she'll be able to climb in finals. She has to go to the medical staff after the round and get an update from them on whether she can climb or not.
That's a shame to hear that. After such a good performance, definitely a big shame.
Yeah, we didn't actually get to cover much of Chloe's round, just as you see potential final top of the competition, or is it? It's not. From Vadim Timonov, they won't be giving him that. But generally, Eddie, it looked like there's so many early tops, it was going to be like a bit of a smash fest, but it looks like the route setters have actually done a pretty good job.
Yeah, I was really worried that it was going to be a flash round, and I spoke to Jene after he finished, and he sort of felt the same way, but he said that the friction was fairly consistent on the holds, and he didn't think that it was going to go off that much. So I'm not sure if that is the case, but especially on men's 2 and 3, it seemed that they got really quite treacherous, and after the opening men looking really consistent across the boulders, it got a little bit patchy. When we do get scores, I'm going to be really curious to see how it pans out, because I think for the most part we are pretty much in the dark. It's been really close.
Yeah, really, really close. We're just so sad that we can't bring you those live results, but you can see there's so much chalk build up on the mats throughout the round. The classic upside down result, I mean, there's a little bit of that, but it's not been too bad. A lot of the big names have still made it through.
It always amazes me in comps. You see some climbers will come out with a towel, but why they're not using effectively a car mat, like a dense carpet that they carry with them just to clean their feet, because not only does it lower your friction when your shoes are covered in chalk, it also cakes the holds, and even with the brushing, you end up taking texture slowly off the hold. So by the time it gets to Vadim and Janja, these guys who are coming out at the end, they're battling. And I'm surprised that some of these guys aren't a little bit more tactically prepared.
And I totally agree. This is something we always used to climb with back in the day, because in the competitions, the matting wasn't the best matting in the universe. It was all constructed from some random mats and not with a cover. And so to see people not climbing nowadays with a towel in hand is just amazing. And I can't understand why the coaches are not telling them this either. Not just from them as an individual, but why they're not practicing this sort of, like you say, they've got this sticky rubber on the bottom of the shoes and they're not using it.
Looks like it's going to happen though from Vadim Timonov. He does get it done. That is the final action of the day. That's massive as well. And Eddie, just before we do end this stream, Oriane Bertone was big things we were hoping for her, and in the end it didn't really seem to happen.
Yeah, I really think she got thrown out a little bit by the technicality of the boulders, especially boulder 2. She didn't seem to be able to get her head around the sequence. It was quite a cryptic boulder. Very few people read it efficiently. I feel Chloe, I'm not sure if you did see on the live stream, but she read it amazingly. She dropped down with her right hand to the low side pull that most of the women thought was just a toe hook, and she just rolled in and just looked incredibly smooth. But for Oriane on this setting, just looked like she didn't have the repertoire of movement to get on top of these boulders, and it's something that I'm sure will come, and we all expected it to happen today, but it just wasn't to be.
Well, it's been a fascinating semi-final round. Like we said, we can't bring you the semi-final results. We're as upset as everybody else, but they will be posted on social media as soon as they're available. That is blockmasters.de. Get on the website, get on social media to check those results. Does end our round of semi-finals here. It's been a fascinating competition. Really good set of boulders from the team here. Amazing performances, and, well, what can you say? Janja Garnbret once again. Join us at 3:20 Central European time. That was when we're going live. We've got plenty of interviews and some cool stuff that we did yesterday ready for you guys. But that's up from us in the commentary position. We'll see you guys for finals.
I would say the first point for a good belaying is that the belayer keeps me from hitting the ground. This is the first most important point. Probably one of the number one points in belaying is to never take your brake hand off the rope.
We didn't need big budgets, big gyms, a big crowd, big news to become a big sport.